So our American kids just finished their first full year of German school. So how did it go? In today's video, we're gonna spill all the details. Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. We're the McFalls, a family of 6 with 4 kids,
a cat and a hamster.
And we moved from the USA to Germany in February of 2021. So we've been here a year and a half and we're sharing all of our adventures with you. So yeah, we're going to talk to you today about how school went here in Germany for our American kids. They're not in international schools. They're not in Montessori schools. They're not in Waldorf schools. They are in German public schools. No private schools. Yeah. So we wanted to share what our experience has been like. And if you want to know how the start went, you want to go check out our school series. We have, 5 or 6 videos where we go into detail about Grundschule, kindergarten, and Gymnasium, and how all of that went down when we first arrived. It was quite a bumpy ride, and actually that's a little bit of what we'll share today, but those videos will all be linked in the description box below. I get a lot of emails and Instagram messages and things from immigrants who are moving from other countries to Germany, and they say our school videos have really helped them. So if you're one of those people and you want to know more about the German school system, or at least how it was for us, and our situation is going to be different depending on where you are in Germany. The schools in Germany are run regionally. They are run by the states. So the schools can be very different around the states and even from village to village. So the system is just different across the country. So you'll hear our experience as Americans, which has a filter on it, living in southern Bavaria. That's going to be quite different probably than for a person from Italy who moved to Berlin, So take it or leave it. It's our experience, So to sort of set it up, we have 4 kids. They're ages 13, 11, 9, and...
Almost 6.
Almost 6. So keep that in mind so you know what our ages are. And when we moved to Germany, the kids knew little to no German, basically. So
yeah, pretty much nothing.
Pretty much nothing.
A few hours on Duolingo is about it.
Yeah, they basically knew nothing. So that was our starting place.
So we moved here really at the height of coronavirus in Germany. And so there were a lot of restrictions, a lot of lockdowns. Kids went to school only a little bit. Depended. Sometimes they never went to school through the whole week. Sometimes they went to school 2 days in the week. It was crazy. So, our first few months here, were not regular school because of what was happening with COVID. And this year, it's been relatively normal. They had to wear masks through much of the year, but not towards the end. In the end, actually, the only place the boys needed it was to ride the bus. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. That's one of our points about taking public transportation to school. So COVID is had mostly wound down. So we had pretty much a normal school year. They got to do many of the normal activities that would happen that we didn't get to last year. So this is a really nice change to be back to mostly normal.
Yeah, so for instance, we just had 2 school parties, one with the Grundschule and one with the Gymnasium. And it was so fun to get to hang out with all of the parents, no masks, let the kids run around and play. We got to talk to the teachers. We got to, talk to the parents of some of our kids' friends. And you felt that sense of community come back, which was seriously lacking last year. And of course, everyone all over the world was suffering from that. But we could really see how much better school is here and get a better picture for how much more fun there is here than what we had when we first arrived. So number 2 is that our number 1 challenge when we moved here was the language and being behind, of course, all the other kids. And we can definitely say it's been conquered. I mean, they're not fully, completely fluent, every single German word there is and all the Grammatik, but
they can understand the directions that they get from their teacher and know what to do, without struggling to understand.
All 4 of our kids, even Ella in kindergarten, they can all converse really well in German. They can make friends in German. And at the beginning of this past school year, so from maybe September to December, we were still helping our boys a little bit with their homework because of the language barrier. And then by January, bam, they were off on their own, and we have barely helped them at all with their homework.
Very rarely.
Very rarely. Yeah. So it's been amazing to see how January was really the time where we saw the switch flip. And that had been about a year, almost. It had been 11 months, since we moved here. So for us, we saw that our kids really got a good grasp of the German language in about a year.
And now Gabriel's correcting us all the time whenever we say anything wrong.
Yes, now they
whenever
correct
we say
us.
anything wrong,
yes.
we get corrected.
And they know way more German than us. If we get a delivery or like the chimney sweep comes by or somebody comes by the house and I don't understand anything of what they're saying, I'll be like, Grayson, come here. And he'll help me interpret, But the kids are definitely way surpassed us in German. And that's to be expected, though, because they hear way more German than we do.
So number 3 is there seems to be so many more field trips and excursions all throughout all of the levels of our kids, from kindergarten all the way through Gymnasium. Yeah. So in kindergarten, they've gone to the Bauernhof, to the farm, gone to one of the parents' house that's a beekeeper and showed them how bee stuff happens. And it's just really cool.
Low-key.
Yeah, low-key stuff. And then in the Grundschule, they go for a Wandertag, where they go for hikes, and they hiked out to this playground a couple kilometers, 4 or 5 kilometers away, and went and played in the playground. They had a Schwimmfest at the Schwimmbad at the local swimming pool here. And then even once the weather got warm, they would do their sport class, their PE class, the local swimming pool, and do gym class in the swimming pool.
That was hard to keep up with because we weren't in the WhatsApp group at the time. I got added to the parents' WhatsApp group for the Grundschule in July. So they were always talking back and forth like, oh, do we need to send them with their Badehose and their Handtuch? And, do we need to send them with all these things today? Is today they're good?
Because then it could get canceled. The weather wouldn't be good, and then they postpone it for another day.
So it was really hard to keep up with. When do they need to bring their swimsuit to school?
Yeah. And then in Gymnasium, they had 2 days where they went skiing. So the whole day was just going skiing. And they had all different levels of classes to go skiing. They also had Wandertag, different days when they go hiking. And then Gabriel had an overnight trip where they did a really big hike up at the top of one of the big mountains here and stayed overnight in a cabin up on top of the mountain. And that was during the school day, so instead of going to school, and it was like the expectation, the entire class, the whole class went on this big hike up the mountain. And so that was part of their education, is doing this. I don't know. It seems like they have more opportunities. The teachers have more opportunities to do these things. It's not as strictly regulated. Sure, we got a form that we had to fill out. It's okay for Griffin to go in the swimming pool without any, life jacket or anything. And yes, when he comes back from the Wandertag, he can walk back by himself from the train station. So there were forms, but it just is a lot simpler and easier to do these sort of things than the types of liability traps that there are in American schools.
I mean, I guess that's why American kids don't go. They do go on field trips, but it's like the school bus has to take them. It has to be official transportation. And with the schools here, the kids just walk.
Yeah.
They just walk from the school to whatever they're doing, or they take the public transportation, or the parents will drive them. But it's so much more low key. I'm not exactly sure why. But also the culture here in Germany is that the kids can just leave. Like kids in Gymnasium, the older kids, the high school and middle school age kids will leave to go get lunch at the locals. If there's a supermarket next door, a döner place, they will go get something to eat and come back to school. So you're allowed to leave campus here in Germany. And in US, that is a huge no-no. It is completely forbidden to leave until the school day is officially over. So that's really nice. So kids just in general, they have more independence all the time here. And you see it even during the school day, and that's pretty cool. And with the hike with Gabriel, we were worried that he wouldn't be strong enough to go on the hike. And the teacher assured Gabriel, hey, this is for the entire class. Everybody can go at their own pace and we'll just keep up with you. Don't worry about it. This is for everyone. And he ended up being in the fastest group, in the leading group. We couldn't believe it. But anyway, we talk more about how living in Germany has made us all physically stronger in one of our recent videos, which I'll have linked in the description box below. Number 4 is that our oldest boys in Gymnasium had some really cool extra classes that you sort of get in the US, but it seems to be more common at our gymnasium anyway. And one was a woodworking class, where it was a carpentry class where Grayson made this really cool clock that I'll show you here, a really cool clock and a mailbox. And then he also had a ceramics class, and they made a bunch of different things in their ceramics class. Yeah, so it was those 2 classes Grayson really enjoyed, and he just went really into depth. And I think most of the time in the US, you just have art class.
Right. Which they have that too. They have art and music and that.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, so in the US, you just have like an art class, and it encompasses, okay, a few weeks of doing clay making. Maybe you do a little bit of woodworking, but you don't have like a whole woodworking shop. Now in the high school I grew up in, before college was the end all be all, the only thing they were trying to, get kids to do. When they allowed for more apprenticeships, there was a carpentry class in my high school. There was a mechanics class in my high school, but they don't have that anymore. So it was really nice that Grayson could also get that break, because it was so intense and so much German and so difficult at first, especially in Gymnasium. But it gave Grayson that break to where he can just, make something with his hands and do something fun. And
yeah, he really liked that.
Yeah. Now, Gabriel, our oldest, he doesn't like art, so he wasn't so keen on all the art classes.
At least he didn't have to study for art.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. It just seems in our gymnasium, at least, and it's probably different in every gymnasium across the country, but they have a high focus on art and music and the creative arts, which I think is so important and so nice.
So then number 5 is that the older boys take the public transportation bus to go to school. It's about a 25 minute ride from here to this town where they have their gymnasium. It was kind of strange in the beginning. They'd never ridden the bus by themselves. It was just tricky to get that started. Then to make things worse, there's been construction around in that town this whole year, and the construction keeps moving where the bus stop is. And so the bus stop, when they first went to school, wasn't even the normal bus stop. So all of the information I was looking up online of where the bus stops were going to be wasn't even the real places. And so it was confusing for them. Now they've got it. When the bus stop changes a little bit from the construction, like, yeah, that's all right, I can figure it out. Yeah. And so that's great. They have to walk almost a kilometer to get to, almost a kilometer to get to the bus stop. Then they have to walk another kilometer when they're there. So taking the bus and then walking. And so that's definitely a new thing for them.
And we truly believe those walking to the bus stop and then to the school, and from the school to the bus stop and the bus stop to home, every single day, we're talking almost 4 kilometers they're walking daily with a large book bag on, and it has made them both so much physically stronger.
Definitely.
So that's really cool. Of course, in Germany, kids are known for carrying huge book bags. But I think you guys told us in the comments last year, hey, did you know you could pay to get a locker in the school? So finally, we're up on that, and Kevin was able to get them a locker.
We reserved one for next year.
Yeah, so they're going to have one in September, thankfully. Oh, and what's cool now is, this is part of the German independence that is so common here, and that the boys are able to navigate public transportation on their own, which now they have friends in other towns, which they could technically get on the bus and figure out the bus schedule and get to their friend's house via bus. And they would feel totally confident doing that. But we've gone traveling, and often Gabriel ends up telling us the bus schedule, which bus we need to take. He, knows how to read the maps. He knows how to understand how they work. And you can see how it has really increased his confidence and helped him to feel more independent here. And that has been a big bonus.
The number 6 is them getting their grades and how everything went for this past year. We did make an agreement with the principal of the school that they would be Gastschüler the first 6 months. That means that they were guest students and their grades didn't count, but they got graded. They take all the tests, they get a grade, but it wouldn't count until the first half of the year ended in February. And then after February, their grades did count. And that was sort of the agreement we made with the principal, that he would let them in, give them a chance, but they would have to prove themselves and they would have to be able to get good enough grades to continue. And so since February, they've been getting all of their grades. Everything's been counting. And, just this past week, they had their last day of school last week, and they got their Zeugnis, they got their grade report, and they passed everything. They did great. They've shown that they belong there in Gymnasium. And so Gabriel's been learning all of the German, obviously, and now he has French as his third language. And besides English, of course, English was his highest grade, but besides English, actually French was his next highest grade. So he did really well learning both French and German throughout this year. And just really proud of them for having done so well in Gymnasium here in Bavaria, well known for having difficult schools. And they passed all their classes and are ready to advance to the next grade next year. So just really proud of them.
So number 7 is that they have been able to make friends, and that, of course, makes school so much better when you have friends. From Ella all the way up to Gabriel, all 4 of our children have been able to make good friends at school, and we've had them over to play. We play with them. We see them at the town festivals, and we're so glad that the festivals were able to come back, because I don't know how it is in the rest of Germany, but here in very southern Bavaria, we have so many festivals.
Yeah.
So starting with Maibaum, I think. Is that the first one, maybe?
I think that was the first one.
Yeah. And everyone's in their Lederhosen and Dirndls. They're in their Trachten. And we all get together. It is so much fun, especially when it's in our town, because
the kids just run around and play.
And we adults sit there and drink giant beers and sausages. Anyway, it's so much fun. And yeah, so the kids are able to play with the kids they've met at school. Yeah, we feel like we really live here, that we're part of the community, that we're truly integrated because of that. And oftentimes, as we said before, usually whoever the kids pick for their friends, there's that vibe, there's that like family culture going on, I think, because we end up really liking the parents usually, and we end up being friends with the parents. So it just works out really well. And the kids kind of help us make friends.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely helps to have that connection with them going to school.
Yeah. So the last one, number 8, we'll just talk about kindergarten and how well that went for Ella. So leading back to the previous point, because of all the festivals coming back, Ella had a lot of fun. They had a big Fasching party. We got to experience a full school year. So it was really fun to get to experience St. Martin's Day here. That was our very first St. Martin's Day. And we loved it. It was so cute how all the kids made lanterns. And COVID was really bad during that time. It was last November. So they didn't get to walk through the town, but normally they will walk through the town at night, and all the parents stand on the sidewalks, and we get to watch our children walk with their little lanterns, and they sing songs. I mean, precious. It's so cute. So they did it in the kindergarten. So but in 2020, they didn't get to do it at all. They had no festival. So they were just happy to get to do something last year, but the parents weren't allowed to attend. It was just the kids and the teachers. Hold your thumbs for this year that, everyone in Germany gets to do their St. Martin's Day, because we can't wait to do that. And then, they celebrated St. Nicholas Day. They celebrated Christmas. They celebrated Fasching, Easter. There were so many parties and so many holidays, and it's been a lot of fun. And like, when the weather started turning warm, they would put a little kiddie pool out in the playground.
To bring their swimsuits and splash around.
Yeah, and again, it's really low-key and casual. Like, if the parents bring their swimsuit, then the kids get to swim. If you don't bring their swimsuit and they happen to have an extra swimsuit, the kid can still swim. It's just, it's very relaxed. And if you don't want your kid to swim at all, I suppose you could let the teacher know. But yeah, the kids just play on the playground and they go swimming. And then we had Elternsprache with the teachers, which is a parent-teacher conference. It was our first one. We could have done it last year, but Ella had barely gone to school. And I was just so totally overwhelmed with all of the changes we had at the beginning. It was very stressful that I was like, I can't even handle an Elternsprache right now. As long as she's going to school, I don't really care how it's going right now. Anyway, so we were excited to do one with her this year because she's going to be a Vorschulkind in September, which is a preschool, kid. And for those who aren't in Germany, they pull out the kids, kindergartners from ages 3 to 6. So they pull out those 5 and 6-year-olds when they're a Vorschulkind, and
a year before they go to first grade.
And they teach them their letters, their numbers. They help them to start to learn to read, and many other skills, lots of skills. So Ella's excited that she's going to be a big Vorschulkind and she's going to be one of the biggest and the oldest and most important in the class and be like a class leader. She's very excited. We already bought all her school supplies for that because she couldn't wait. She was so excited. I got a little sidetracked. The Elternsprache. Yeah, the teacher said that Ella is very selbstständig, which we already know that at home.
Yeah.
What Ella wants, Ella gets herself. She's
she
very
figures out a
independent.
way to make it happen.
Yeah. And they said she's very friendly. She makes friends with everyone in the class. And she plays very well with other kids. And
coming along with her German. And
that her German is really good. And that she's doing great. That was good to hear. Things are going well with Ella. And of course, she's going to have the easiest transition of all going into Grundschule. She's going to be speaking fluent German, understanding everything her teacher's saying. Mm-hmm. She'll go with the Vorschulkind class that she has. Those are her best friends are in that class. And so they're all going to go from Vorschule to Grundschule, and they're just going to stay together. And because we live in a small town, they stay together the next 5 years, So I already know the parents. So it just helps you to feel part of the community. And we have, parents we can call for play dates and parties and So, that kind of wraps up the end of the school year. Of course, it's really funny. We're starting our summer break while all of my friends in the U.S. who live in Georgia have just started to go back to school.
Yeah. Yeah, Monday's probably their first day, right?
Yes, Monday is their first day.
Yeah, so.
Yes, we're a whole month, like a month and a half offset of them. They got out in May and have been out for all of June and all of July. So now we get all of August off and then 2 weeks in September and we go back, I think September 12th or 13th or something. Mm-hmm. So now we're starting our summer break. We got lots of fun things planned. And as I've told you guys in the YouTube community tab, I'll be posting every other week in the summer just to have a nice break. And with the kids home and us having vacations and going on trips and stuff, it's going to be too hard for me to post every single week because that's like 40 to 60 hours a week that I work and it's just not possible. But also I want to make sure I'm enjoying the time with the kids and not thinking about work. And I want to do what you Germans do, which is, hey, it's the month of August. Peace out, work. I'm going to go live my life and have some fun now, Work hard, play hard. I don't want to be working hard either. If all you guys are going to have fun, I'm going to have fun too. So
that's right.
Unfortunately, Kevin still has to work a normal schedule.
Well, I get some time off and it's to shift my schedule and have some time off in the afternoons. So
yeah, that's true.
It's flexible.
So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in 2 weeks, not next week, but in 2 weeks for the next video. All right, see you guys later.
Cheers.